A lot of people are not talking about this, but when him say aside Okudzeto ablakwa, say ubisa me say MP ben ena obo ejuma pan wo ya ade pan eye MP na ni mfoni eda eye screen so. Ye friend no lawyer Francis Sosu. Na lawyer Francis Sosu eye NDC MP for Madina. NDC for sa lawyer we MP we one of the MPs I was say you have to go all out to protect his seat. I was say mo make sure say Francis Sosu is maintained in Parliament. Ayana se mo can say MPs no ayana omojuma nkasa ne se wo mo be shemra. So far this is the one of the MPs I hu ne say omojuma nkasa no wasum a woye na me betre onyema bi a waye. Sa Imrana and the akwakoto President Akufo-Addo enim say eni kwan say ye bo obi beyiye wo Ghana biom na ye kaso bi ye beifo ane akwakoche na abo na eku no ye kaso bi ye beifo ane akwakoche ne say ye pame na efekro bi so sansensem bebre no. Yes, lawyer we na trese wo di enim edi mutitiman ema ye hyemra eti asanyama no. NDC MP lawyer Francis Sosu. Ghana former, and you see, it's quite funny. Say people are not even talking about this particular one. Ghana for Emma Bebrina Kasai and the taxes are two parts. So into amende part nebuaye ding a lawyer we and I was sorry or pass a private members bill for Aban to remove taxes from part. But Ghanaians are not giving him his flowers because of your NDC ni or your NDC MP. But a lawyer we and a sorry a mass ambrano ye pass or no sponsor sa biono ma ye passes ambrano parliament lawyer Francis Sosu no. Another one or the other on the ya near tena somewhere ye can say obeti yesi obi akwa kowia banchi obi akwa kowia brode yes wonko prison yesi obi akwa kowia akoko yes wonko prison once answer no ya near tena na ye ka say adenti na brochwe obi yesa ade ye ne se ye ma no ebia communal labor ye ka so wo de sa akokọ na wakwa wi a ye ma no nkonkodo ebia bebi efu gata bi mu onkonko yi mu for 1 month bi wate ase ye ni aye tena ha ye kaseti asa anyama ne se obi akwa wi bibi kito ebi ye se onko da mfi ase obi akwa wi bibi now enchire ya eba ye ne se Ghana ye mra no enso asa ade ne so emra bi eni Ghana efo aso se obi di boni a boni no ye hu ne se da bi we die enso eni kwan se ye mane kokodem boni bia ye boni enti ye chi no ye si onkonko dem fiase owi abrode no ye si onkonko dem fiase, which is obviously not fair. And then lawyer Francis Sosu amene mo kase championing a bill in Parliament na wa pass samra no na babeda ne mra wo Ghana enti ye nche obi wi abrode a instead say nipa kro no ye beka se onkonko dem fiase no ye be ma nipa kro na akwakoye communal labor ebia bebi efu bebi enra bi wo bebi yehu enye obi ando ana ye kokaso obi nkonkodo a sika nipa ko ne ye sentence na ye be supervise no a month every day 2 hours obedo hwa what you say communal labor. You know, I think say personally no, it is a good thing. It's one of the things that a lot of us on this platform we've been calling for. You know, he is championing that. Now, me say yeti ono ankasa voice explaining it.
So the Criminal and Other Offences Procedure Amendment Bill 2023 seeks to introduce some 5 very, very critical amendments. 5 critical amendments. The first amendment is to amend Section 148 of Act 30. So that we can introduce a regime that increases the penalty for compensation. It's obvious that the courts do not resort to this section because we only have the penalty as being equivalent to 500 penalty units. So if people who commit misdemeanors or petty offenses are asked to pay compensation, it's most likely that they'll be paying just 500 penalty units. For that reason, maybe the courts do not resort mostly to that. So the bill seeks to increase the penalty unit to 1,000 penalty unit. 1,000 penalty unit. That way, the courts can resort to compensation as a means of alternative sentencing. Then Section 294 is also being amended. Currently, when you look at Section 294, as in the penalties available when a person commits misdemeanor, it's only custodial sentences or they are fines. And so, by this amendment, I am seeking that we would introduce community service and bond of good behavior. What this means is that anytime a person is convicted of a petty offense, like somebody has stolen goat or cow or has gone to steal tubers of yam, and the court is wondering what type of offense, what type of penalty to impose when the person is convicted, the court has an option to now impose a community service or a bond of good behavior. And then also Section 294A, which is a new introduction, is seeking to impose duties on judges when they are imposing sentences. What this means is that when a judge is faced with a situation where he or she has petty offenses, who have been a petty offender who has been convicted, the judge would have to, as a matter of law, first consider non-custodial sentence before imposing a fine or a custodial sentence. So that is a new obligation the law is imposing. Of course, the law is seeking to also impose an obligation on the Minister for Interior by a legislative instrument to prescribe the processes of community, the community sentences. On the 20th of December 2023, I caused to be sent to the office of the Clerk to Parliament of the Republic of Ghana a new bill, which is called the Community Sentencing Bill. And this bill is a very, very crucial bill because when you consider the kind of congestions that we have at the prisons of Ghana today, and the fact that in the current Act 30, which is the Criminal and Other Offences Procedure Act 1960-30, we have some forms of non-custodial sentences or alternative sentences, particularly for what we know as the petty offenses or petty crimes. And yet the courts have not made good use of these alternative sentences. So it is very important that we have a very clear law that properly establishes the community services as an alternative to sentencing people to custodial sentences or giving them fines. And that is the purpose of this bill. So when you look at the bill, the bill aims at establishing a community sentencing and also provide for alternative or provide for related matters. And one would ask that, so when we talk about alternative sentencing, in relation to this very bill, we are talking about alternative sentences for offenses that are generally required or that are generally known as misdemeanors And the background is that currently as we speak, there are about, I would say, 4 types of classification of our offenses. We don't have very clear classification, but the broad classification that we have is capital punishment and felonies. And felonies, we have the first degree, second degree, and then we have felony simpliciter before we have the misdemeanors. So these are the only classifications that we have currently under our law. And when
basically, no, utie ensemo a lawyer Francis Osu Ekana senior mitremu no. Into the problem was that ne eyega na mra na emra no ena na eyesa inti na sometimes yete na echi ne yebo judges na echi say adenti na judge obi aba ne wewia aponche yesi obi aba wewia brode betim baako wako wi aba ere na judge won konko da mfiase aden na judges ni ebi mutrimo ne I mean we were all ignorant of that, but as someone no can say na eyega na mra no ti judge no de Ghana mra na eye adwuma Ghana mra ne trese nipa kro no oba ma yen hwese bone no ye ketwa eyese ni nyina won konko de mfiase which is obviously not right. Nti ono nso nsesaye eba a kyerɛ sɛ sɛnea ɔyɛyɛ a ɛma pad no yɛyɛ ama ne kɔɔyɛ no we nso ɔyɛ championing, and I think say he's doing originally no yɛka parliamentarians and like ɔmo adwuma ni o, they are legislators like ɔmo adwuma ni originally no, nti we na ɔyɛ parliament adwuma na nkasa all those other things say and parliament yɛbɛsi we no ɛnyɛ parliamentarians adwuma ɛyɛ we.